In these video tutorials, we're going to show you two kinds of software that we use to program the ASR. One of these is called VCV Rack, and that's what I have open on my screen right now. The other is called MaxMSP. Now, it's probably easier for you if you're just getting started with the ASR to start with MaxMSP. And the reason is because we are able to customize the patches, the things we make in MaxMSP for the ASR, we're able to customize them in a way that lets us hide all of the complicated stuff that you don't need to see and don't want to see when you're just getting started. VCV Rack, on the other hand, we can't customize it quite as much as we do Max. There's going to be a lot of stuff on the screen that's kind of complicated that you really don't need to think about or look at. So when you're starting out, Max is probably easier. But VCV Rack is fun because it will ultimately be easier for you to use VCV Rack if you want to make custom things and start to build your own ASR software, your own patches. So let's look at this first patch, and this is a very simple patch. It's called Metronome, and so I downloaded the Metronome file, metronome.vcv, and I double-clicked it and opened it up, and this is what I've got. So whenever you open up a VCV Rack patch for the ASR, there's two things you need to do. First, you need to select from the audio module here the audio interface you're using. Now I'm going to click on this right here. I'm just doing a click, and this insane menu of stuff pops open because I have all of these audio interfaces and crazy stuff on my computer because I'm an audio person. I'm an audio engineer person, and that's what I teach. So there's all kinds of stuff here. Now you're going to click on this and have a much shorter menu, hopefully. Okay, and all you need to do is look for whatever, you need to make sure that you have everything plugged in, and then you need to select the Scarlett interface. It says Scarlett here. Okay, so click on that. That's the first step. Then it says Scarlett right there. Okay, that means it's using the audio interface that you've plugged in that we're using with the ASR. Now the second thing you need to do is you need to go to the MIDI map module, and the second line here, mine says Teensy MIDI port 1. Okay, yours probably says when you opened it up, no device. Okay, so you need to click on that, and if everything is plugged in, you've got your ASR interface plugged in, then you just need to look for that word Teensy and click on it. And that means that when you turn the dials on this controller, it will control things inside this patch. Now you can see that I've made some notes here. What do the controls do? Knob 0, tempo, and knob 1, pitch. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm going to pick up my violin here, and I'm going to turn up the volume here on my monitor all the way to 3 o'clock. And now you can hear this kind of ticking sound. It's kind of slow for a metronome. So here, knob 0 tempo. Okay, I'm going to go over, I'm going to turn knob 0. You can see I can really speed it up, or maybe it's set it somewhere in the middle. And you can see as I turn this dial, there's a dial on screen that's turning. Okay. Then knob number 1 says pitch. So let's try turning that and see what happens. So I'm getting this click that gets a little bit sharper as I turn it up. Knob 2 and knob 3, they don't do anything because, I mean, how much customization do you need for a metronome? This is plenty, I think, the tempo and the pitch. So now I'm going to put the violin against my body, and I can feel it pulsing, right? I can really feel this pulse from the metronome. Now what's cool about this ASR metronome is that we can turn off the speakers. We can make it so that you just feel the pulse. And so if I want to do that, I'm going to start by turning down the speakers. I'm just going to turn this all the way down. And it's still kind of loud, even with just the actuators vibrating the violin. It's still kind of loud. So maybe I want to turn down the actuator volume as well. And I can do that by turning down the actuators, or I can go down to the monitor dial on my interface, the big dial that controls the volume of everything. And I can turn that down to the point where I can just feel the pulse, but you basically can't hear it. And here then I can also try exploring the pitch dial, and kind of find like what works the best and kind of fine tune that pulse. So yeah, once you have the volume set and you maybe turn off the speakers and change the pitch and find a kind of feeling that you like, now you have your metronome and you can control the speed with knob 0. Now there's a bunch of other stuff here as well. So if you look, this is a kick drum synthesizer and there's all these other dials and stuff that you can turn and play with. And if you want to, go for it. Start moving stuff around. You know, there's other things here. This looks kind of complicated down here. You probably don't want to move or touch this stuff. But certainly play with the kick drum sound, the kick drum generator, if you want to, yeah, play with it. That's fine. So the main idea here is that we're going to show you these patches that have a lot of complexity, potentially, but we're giving you this interface and some notes so that we can pick up to 4 things that are the most significant parameters, the most significant things that you might want to manipulate. And you can turn those and play with those. And then if you want to go further, yeah, you can just dive in and start twisting dials around and doing things like that too.